Vitiligo can be socially and psychologically devastating because there is currently no known cure. Treatment is aimed at halting disease progression, inducing repigmentation, and achieving an acceptable cosmetic result. In this video, we will going to discuss conventional, non-surgical, and surgical therapies, along with the alternative and promising new treatment. Despite treatment, many patients will continue to suffer with vitiligo throughout their entire life. For this reason, methods for coping with lifelong disease are addressed. Now we will going to discuss about non-surgical treatment, which include topical, systemic, phototherapy, photochemotherapy, and laser therapy. Counseling patient on therapeutic option should create realistic expectation. In general, patient with a family history of vitiligo, mucosal involvement, and the non-segmental type of vitiligo tend to have progression of their condition in the absence of therapy. The best response to treatment is seen in younger patient, disease of recent onset, darker skin type, and in the lesion of face, neck, and trunk. Corticosteroid Corticosteroids are commonly used as first line and adjunctive therapy for the treatment of vitiligo. Their efficacy is attributed to modulation of the immune response. Studies have shown an abundance of inflammatory cell in vitiligo with a predominance of macrophages and T cell. Elevated antibody and complement mediated melanocyte destruction has also been reported. Treatment with corticosteroid decreases this destruction and appear to induce melanocyte repopulation and melanin production in vitiliginous skin. Efficacy of topical corticosteroid. Higher response rate are seen in children compared to adult. Head and neck lesions tend to have the greatest response to treatment. Based on comparative study, topical corticosteroid are the most clinically effective choice for topical therapy. Compared with topical calcineurin inhibitor, patient treatment with topical corticosteroid has equivocal to slightly higher rate of repigmentation. Efficacy of systemic corticosteroid. Although they are currently not considered conventional treatment for vitiligo, can be effective through inducing immunosuppression. There are few large studies that have evaluated their safety and efficacy. Safety. One of the biggest factor limiting the use of corticosteroid is the concern for side effect. Side effect of corticosteroid therapy include epidermal atrophy and side effect associated with systemic absorption. In children, treatment with medium to high potency topical corticosteroid, 26% develop local side effect and 29% have abnormal cortisol level at follow-up. Systemic corticosteroid may include insomnia, acne, agitation, menstrual disturbance, weight gain, hypertrichosis, and adrenal insufficiency. Recommendation. Topical corticosteroids are generally considered a safe first-line therapy. Head and neck lesions have the best response rate, but there is concern of systemic absorption. Local side effect may prohibit long-term use and merit frequent monitoring and regular steroid holiday. Systemic corticosteroid can halt disease progression and induce repigmentation in patients with progressive vitiligo. However, the efficacy, safety, and optimal dosing parameter remain to be determined. Regardless of route, combining corticosteroid with light therapy appear to enhance the result. Calcineurin inhibitor. Calcineurin inhibitors are advantageous in treating vitiligo because they have immunomodulatory effect without the side effect profile of corticosteroid. Calcineurin is an intracellular protein in lymphocyte and dendritic cell. When activated, it acts as a transcription factor for cytokines such as interleukin 2 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. Compared to healthy control, patients with vitiligo have elevated IL-10, TNF-alpha, and interferon gamma. Treatment with tacrolimus decreases tissue count of TNF-alpha and enhances melanocyte and melanoblast proliferation. Topical CI are approved by FDA for short-term, 2 to 4 weeks, or intermittent long-term use in patients with atopic dermatitis. However, the off-label use of tacrolimus has been shown to be safe and effective in the treatment of vitiligo in both adult and children. According to FDA, one should avoid use in patients younger than 2 years of age, given their lack of local side effect and efficacy comparable to topical corticosteroid. They are appropriate for intermediate long-term use and for those who cannot tolerate topical corticosteroid. Face and neck lesions respond best. Current limited data suggests that use with phototherapy enhances result, limiting their application to a small body surface area, such as face, may alleviate patient and physician concern about potential systemic absorption. Vitamin D3 analog. Calcipotriene is a topical vitamin D3 analog with several different mechanisms of action. While it is used in psoriasis for its anti-proliferative effect on keratinocyte, the immunomodulatory effect and enhancement of melanocyte development and melanogenesis are of interest in vitiligo. Most studies evaluated calcipotriene as an adjuvant therapy. Compared to topical corticosteroid, calcipotriene has a lower response and repigmentation rate. However, when compared with corticosteroid, repigmentation rate increases, the delay in the onset of repigmentation shortens, and there is a greater stability of repigmentation compared with either as monotherapy. In addition, combination therapy is effective in some previously steroid non-responsive patients. Off-label use of the fixed combination calcipotriene 0.005% and betamethasone 0.05%. Recommendation: topical vitamin D3 analog are safe to use in both children and adult and provide the most benefit when combined with topical corticosteroid. The impact of calcipotriene on light phototherapy is controversial and requires further research. For the FDA-approved indication of psoriasis, the manufacturer recommended a maximum 100 gram weekly for the fixed combination calcipotriene and not exceeding 4 consecutive weeks of therapy with the ointment. Phototherapy. Ultraviolet light is used to treat patients with vitiligo since 1800. The exact mechanism of action is unknown. It is believed to have both immunosuppressive and melanocyte stimulatory effect. In vitro studies have shown that both UVA and UVB phototherapy promote melanocyte migration and proliferation, promote a favorable environment for melanocyte growth, and inhibit autoimmunity. Safety. The regular maintenance and calibration of phototherapy unit is crucial to ensure proper dose delivery. The initial treatment phase is most critical because UVB-induced conditioning subsequently reduces sensitivity. It is important to control the output of irradiation unit on a regular basis and to keep careful record of the applied doses. Not just the exposure time, missed treatment require adjusting the dose. A good rule of thumb is to decrease the dose by 25% for every week of time missed. If 4 weeks are missed, start over at base dose. Common adverse effects in patients receiving UVA phototherapy include erythema, nausea, and headache, mild transaminitis, hypertrichosis, lentiginous. Hypertrichosis are less frequent. Second-degree burn occurred in a patient who received incorrect irradiation doses or sunbath after using Sorelin. Patients should be instructed to practice extreme sun protection for 24 hours after ingesting or applying Sorelin to prevent compounding the therapeutic effect of phototherapy with additional natural UV light. UVA phototherapy carries slightly increased risk of both non-melanoma, skin cancer, and melanoma. Laser therapy. Laser therapy for vitiligo is a relatively new treatment that has gained popularity in the last decade. The mechanism of action is thought to be similar to conventional light therapy, but laser allows targeted treatment, less total body irradiation, and less impact on healthy skin. Monochromatic excimer laser. The best studied and most used laser therapy for vitiligo is the monochromatic excimer laser, a non-ablative technology that emits light in the UV range. The specific wavelength depends on the halogen and the noble gas source. The xenon chloride monochromatic excimer laser emits 308 nanometer wavelength, very similar to 311 nanometer of NBUVB phototherapy and the bioskin laser. In most clinical trials, the MEL used 1 to 3 times a week for an initial course of 12 weeks. The MEL is approved by FDA for treating vitiligo. Safety. Missed treatment require adjusting the dose per the manufacturer's protocol to reduce local side effect. Because of the absence of photosensitizing substance and drug-induced toxicity, patients who work outdoor, pregnant women, and patients with liver or kidney failure can also be treated. Furthermore, the short term required for session, duration of cycle, selective exposure, or affected skin are significant benefit in the term of safety and efficacy. Bioskin. A new device out of Italy, Bioskin, transmit focused 311 nanometer UVB phototherapy. The goal is to improve cosmesis, reduce adverse effect, and decrease the premature aging and risk of skin cancer associated with total body irradiation. Helium neon laser. The 632.8 nanometer helium neon laser is used in patients with segmental vitiligo who typically have a poorer response to conventional treatment compared to NSV. The helium neon laser has induced more than 50% repigmentation in 60% of patients. On average, repigmentation began after 16 to 17 treatments. Photochemotherapy. Throughout history, chemicals were applied to enhance the effect of light therapy for vitiligo. Soralin and Khelin enhance the effect of light phototherapy. L-phenylalanine is an alternative photosensitizer for topical or oral supplementation of natural or artificial ultraviolet E light phototherapy. Soralin. The furocomarine soralin, 8-methoxysoralin, 5-methoxysoralin, and trimethoxysoralin has been successfully used. The topical 8-MOP photochemotherapy can be used in patients with small lesion, less than 5% body surface area, or who are younger than 12 years of age. This therapy must not be performed in an office setting because of the risk of severe phototoxicity. Concentration of 0.1% 8-MOP or less in alcoholic solution or ointment are recommended. The frequency of treating is 1 to 3 times per week, 20 to 30 minutes after application of an even layer. The skin is exposed to UVA radiation. 2 to 3 times a week exposure time is increased to small step 15 to 30 seconds up to a maximum of 10 minutes. This procedure is repeated until a dosage and exposure time are attained that produce erythema but not burning. The patient need to wash off the remaining 8-MOP with soap and water immediately after the irradiation and apply UVA sunblock to avoid additional environmental UVA exposure. Topical sorolin are highly phototoxic even at very low concentration. Pruritus, erythema, edema, blister, and skin necrosis with massive overdose have all been reported. Khelin. Khelin is an organic compound with vasodilatory effect. Although the mechanism by which khelin enhances the effect of light remains elusive, as in vitro study of normal melanocyte suggests a stimulatory effect on melanogenesis and melanocyte proliferation when combined with UVA light. Khelin rarely caused nausea or mild transaminitis, and in one report it uncovered a case of hereditary porphyria cutanea tarda. Effect of KUVA reported no actinic damage or skin cancer at an average of 40 months of follow-up. L-phenylalanine Phenylalanine is an essential amino acid that is critical in initiating melanogenesis and in melanocyte. Patients with vitiligo have decreased calcium-dependent melanocyte uptake of L-phenylalanine. In vitro, oral LP with UVA light phototherapy decreased Langerhans cells count in lesion skin. While not a classic photosensitizer, the enzyme that converts phenylalanine has increased activity after being exposed to UVB irradiation. L-phenylalanine has few significant side effects. Treatment of vitiligo with LP appear to be safe and can be used for any patient with access to natural or UVA light. Patient with less than 25% body surface area affected, a disease onset before 21 year of age, and with generalized symmetrical lesion respond best. Antioxidant. Topical and oral antioxidant may have a role in protecting melanocyte from destruction by receiving oxygen species. Vitamin E, vitamin C, alpha-lipoic acid, ginkgo biloba, topical catalase, superoxide dismutase, and polypodium leucotomes have been used in vitiligo. The safety profile of many oral and topical antioxidants are unknown. Even more so, when used in combination with other modalities, topical catalase, superoxide dismutase causes transient erythema. Recommendation: there is good evidence supporting oral antioxidant supplementation of conventional therapy, especially NB-UVB phototherapy. It is also likely a safe, widely available, and inexpensive adjunct. However, defining dosing parameters, efficacy, and side effect profile require additional research. Surgical therapy. Surgical therapy for vitiligo is invasive and not without risk. However, it can be an excellent option for patients who fail non-surgical therapy. Patient with Lobner phenomenon could worsen the surgical treatment. Melanocyte transplant technique include suction blister grafting, split thickness grafting, punch grafting, melanocyte suspension. Adverse outcome include scarring, graft failure, neobnerization, infection, cobblestoning, variegated pigmentation. Depigmentation. Depigmentation may be beneficial to patients who fail repigmentation therapy or have extensive disease. Topical agents include monobenzene and hydroquinone. The Q-switch ruby laser and the Q-switch alexandrite laser can be used alone or in combination with topical repigmentation agent. Camouflage. Camouflage can create a cosmetically pleasing appearance and should be recommended to patients at all stages of treatment. It can be temporary makeup, semi-permanent self-tanning agent, or permanent tattoo. Camouflage improve patient score on the Dermatology Quality of Life Index. Psychotherapy help with the psychosocial effect of vitiligo, but may also affect disease progression. Tumor necrosis factor alpha inhibitor reportedly alter disease progression of vitiligo, but this has yet to be studied in clinical trial. Minocycline may halt disease progression. Immune suppressant may have a role in the treatment of vitiligo. Vitiligo is a lifelong disease that can become expensive to treat both for patient and the healthcare system. Treatment should start with less aggressive, cost-efficient modalities, reserving more invasive and expensive options for those who fail first-line therapy. At all stages of therapy, keep in mind that vitiligo can be a lifelong disease that damages one's psychosocial sense of well-being. Acknowledging this hidden impact of disease on quality of life and offering support for dealing with it will greatly improve the physician-patient relationship and promote a positive connection. Camouflage can provide temporary cosmetic relief, and psychotherapy should be offered to help patient deal with the psychological disease burden.